All right. Welcome to, I think this is episode 5, and today we're going to talk about um, branding. We're going to talk about how you start your agency, how you determine what your market verticals are, and look at the pros and cons of what I see people doing, which I also did when I first started out in this business. So one of the things I share with people is um, determining what is your expertise, because what we tend to see people do in the marketing industry or the agency world or whatever that looks like is they're quick to say I can do everything, which is not true, or I should do everything, or I'm the expert at everything, or whatever that looks like. And we just have to be realistic. So I'm going to give you, I tell everybody that it's important to choose 3 to 5 different verticals when you start off in the agency world. And the reason being is those are generally going to be what you're best at, but it's also going to give people the opportunity to see, as you're going after specific aspects of business, they're going to be able to see case studies. They're going to be able to learn more, because your website is where they're going to go without you knowing. They're going to check and see who you are. They're going to do their homework. They're going to check out all of the different facets of what your claims are. And so it's important to make sure that you're on par, if you will, from what you're claiming you do versus what your website is absolutely saying that you do. I'm going to give an example that isn't one of mine, of a company here in my backyard who is a international marketing agency. They do have international clients. I have no affiliation with that company, but I want to give an example of somebody who's doing it well, and what that has caused them from a success standpoint. All right, so let's back up, because we're going to apply the 3 W's. What is it? What does it mean? And what does it mean to them? Ideally, what is it? It's who you are. Okay, so when you determine your market verticals and you're determining your toolbox, you're going to walk in, hypothetically, into a potential prospects, into a pitch meeting or whatever that looks like, and you're going to bring your toolbox with you, and they're going to test you, and they're going to ask you certain things. Can you do this? Can you do this? I know it says that you can do this, but can you do this too? Do not be afraid to giving them a no is just as valuable as giving them a yes, because a no allows you to say, I don't know, I'm not an expert at that, but I can help you with that, from a consultant standpoint, or whatever that looks like. So let's dig in. I'm going to share my screen with this website, because if you're just starting your agency today, or the best opportunity is if you've had your agency for 2-3 years, what does your website look like? Because your website is what what your prospective clients are going to go to research who you are. And when you sit down in front of them and you go through a pitch, and your pitch doesn't match your website, you're building doubt within them silently, that prospective client silently, as to the validity of your claims. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and let's go through this. Let me get this on the right screen, and yeah, let's share this. I'm going to give you a couple of tools too, some free tools, and I encourage you to use these, because as you're building everything up, it's important to be very cognizant that you probably don't have $1 million in your pocket to build all of these assets out. So I'm going to give you some free tools, or links to free tools, or I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you how this works. And I'm going to draw this out. Let me bring this over to another screen as well. But let's start off with a company called Olive & Company. And Olive & Company is right in my backyard. And they do everything extremely well, extremely well. And I'm going to dissect their website and show you how they're doing what they're doing. Okay. So this is Olive & Company. And one of the things I want to point out is Olive and Company. They have a very clean website. They do a really good job. Again, I don't even know who owns this. I mean, I've run into them a couple of times pitching clients, but that's not really important. If you look at what they're doing and you go down to, they have three verticals. So branding is number one, and then web design is number two, and marketing solutions is number three. So if they're pitching a client, the very first thing that the client is going to look at is, one, they're going to determine a good fit. Does this prospective client need what our three focuses are? And then two, they're going to give that client the opportunity, or prospective client the opportunity, to go in and research those three market verticals that they specialize in. So if we go in and we explore their brand solutions, or web design solutions, so they want to build a website, they want to market a website, and they want to do the branding, and that's it. Now, they may do other peripherals, and I would encourage everybody to take on peripheral work in areas that aren't necessarily your expertise, but you do have knowledge in. They list out happy clients. And then the very next thing that's really important is they give an example of a case study. Now, if you're just starting in your agency, or you've been doing it for a long time, I want to be real clear in how people research who you are. The very first thing they want to know when they go to your website after you build it out is, what do you specialize in? So what is it? What does it mean? What does it mean is case studies, right? So we're going to build out case studies, and we're going to say, this is an example of how we did this for Whoosy Fritz, and Whoosy Fritz started here and it ended here. And that could be a 1 week case study. It could be a 1 month case study. It could be an entire year's case study. So the importance of building up your case studies and your white papers and all of that stuff, I can't speak highly enough of making sure that you're constantly moving the chains with those. So you should always be doing case studies. You should always be showing your work, taking screenshots of the different things that you're doing. And then, of course, what does it mean to them? They want to see that you've been successful for other clients that you have. Now, if you're starting your agency, you really don't have that. So you're going to add that in later. But let's dissect the website. So the very first thing that people do when they're researching whether they should do business with you is they're going to your website and they're matching up what you're potentially saying to or offering to them as a solution versus what are you saying to the entire world. Now, does that match? Okay. Now, the second most visited page on a website, on any website, is the About Us. Okay. And that's front and center here. So they're quick to tell you what they do, who they are. Then the very next thing that they're going to do is talk about their philosophy, their mission statements, all of this stuff. Okay. Now, if you notice, it isn't about them. Okay. It really isn't about them. You don't see anything in Olive and Company talking about who their CEO is, because it doesn't matter. And this is a multi-million dollar agency right here in Minneapolis. So people don't really care, right? So they're showing this. Here's what it is. Here's the About Us, approach, questions, testimonials, etc. Now, if I want to see what other people are saying about this company, now obviously they're going to put out their best testimonials, which is, anybody would do that. Then the very next thing they're going to talk about, and they lead you down a great funnel here from a prospective client standpoint, where here's who we are on their front page, then the About Us, and then the very next thing that they're talking about are the solutions that they offer. So here are the things that they're going to do, and they're constantly talking, and this goes right back into their three market verticals. Okay, so they didn't overstate. They clearly stated again what they work on, and then they're going to talk about work. This is their case studies where they're showing exactly what solutions they've done for other people. And this is always a work in progress. So you can see where, they do University of Minnesota, they do General Mills. I mean, they're a huge agency, Star Tribune, newspaper, General Mills. They have some really big clients, and they're really good at what they do. Alliant Engineering is a huge company, and they're really good. Okay, clients, you can look at. So they do Ecolab, and this is standard form and function. Okay, so they've gone over, again, here's who we are, here's our 3 market verticals of what we specialize in. Here's more about us and our approach as far as how we're going to offer solutions to you. Here's some of the work that we've done. Here's our clients. Here's a list. So this is, proof is in the pudding. And then they turn around and they give you their blog and their contact us. So this is a very simple website for a multi-million-dollar company. Now, you can see their publishing, right? And we're going to talk about publishing too, and we're going to talk about content and how to build out your brand and make sure that it's relevant from a website standpoint. But you can see that every 2 weeks, like clockwork, they're publishing a new piece of content. And if you were to run metrics on this, you would see that their content does very well and their website is always up to date because they're publishing on a 2-week schedule. Now, going back, let's talk about that for just a moment. Publishing, when you go in and you can create a year's worth of content for publishing all at the same time and then schedule it out. And what Olive is really good at doing is they're going to give you that. You can expect that every 2 weeks. They're not hitting your inbox every single day. They're not hitting your inbox every single week, but they're doing it on a uniform scale or a uniform schedule, so that every 2 weeks I can expect, I can expect a new piece of content from Olive, and I'm going to be excited to read that. So that brings me up to the first big roadblock, if you will. The one thing I promise does not work. I promise this does not work, and I know I'm going to get pushback from people in our industry, is they overload the inbox. They are constantly putting them in a position where they think if they're, putting themselves front and center in front of their prospective clients every single day at 2 o'clock or blah, 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 that they're potentially going to win. And I guarantee that you are potentially going to fail if that is your methodology. The reason being is because nobody will ever care enough about you to want to see you every day. Even your family. Your family does not want to see you every day. So let's use that as an analogy. If you showed up to your sister's or brother's house every day at 2 o'clock, how long would that last before they said, hey, you know what? I don't want to see you tomorrow. Okay, so take that as a gold nugget of this. Be responsible, be thoughtful, and publish content in a way and get your message out in a way that it isn't just quick little blips of here I am again. You're giving somebody very thoughtful reasons to consider you. Okay, I'll say that again. If you are constantly hitting people's inboxes every single day, they will get tired of you. If you ate oatmeal and oatmeal is your favorite thing to eat in the world and you ate it every single day, you would get tired of it. The reason why you appreciate eating oatmeal, if oatmeal is your favorite food, is because you're going to eat that in moderation. And I would encourage you to approach prospects with the same thought or the same approach, right? Go after them in the same way that, be thoughtful and make every touch or every contact with whoever that prospective client is, make that thoughtful. All right. So let's go back to the basics because we're going to round this out. We're almost to 15 minutes. They have clearly stated what they stand for. What are their verticals? Okay. They have 3. I would encourage 3 to 5. That gives your prospective client the opportunity to not necessarily, even if you went after them for web design, but they don't necessarily need web design, they may need branding. And we're going to talk about branding in upcoming episodes as well. The very next page is the About Us, which is the second most visited page on the internet for any website, is the About Us. The third is verifying what you do or reinforcing what you do. And then the next one is, what is the work? What is the work you've done? What are the case studies? And you can see they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They only have 6 there. You don't need thousands of case studies because people aren't going to read thousands of case studies. You need a few case studies to show here's where you started, here's where you finished. And is that something that, as they're doing research on their own, is that something that they want to? You're going to state some of your clients. Okay, if you don't have any clients right now, leave that out for right now. You're going to give people other opportunities to help reinforce your knowledge, because we talked about knowledge versus ability, because they haven't given you the ability. Ability is the case studies. You're showing your work. Your blog is stating your knowledge. Here's how we do this. Here's an example of good. Here's an example of our knowledge. Here's why this reinforces why you should hire us, because here's some of the things that we are experts at, or here's an opportunity to read more about something that's a specific interest of yours. And then the last one is, let's talk. If you've made all of those decisions, if they've worked through that funnel from point A to point Z, and they're still satisfied that you may be the right choice, even if they're not a prospective client now, Olive has shown literally through that complete funnel that this is what causes you to make an informed decision. Let's talk, reach out to us, and let's set something up. Let's talk. Okay, so one of the perils that I see that happen with people who are starting out, or people who have been in business, and I tell everybody that they're chasing their tail, is they think they have to just move 1,000,000 miles a second in every direction, and they have to be the expert at everything. And what they soon realize, and it might take a year or 2 years or 3 years, and they're struggling on year 3 and they haven't hit that $1 million mark, is they've worked so hard to be an expert at everything that their prospective clients don't see them being valuable at anything. They're not necessarily a one-trick pony, but think about it this way. If you were the client and somebody approached you and you said, okay, can you fix a transmission on my car? Yeah. We're the best at fixing transmissions. Well, can you rebuild the engine? Oh yeah, we can rebuild the engine. Great. Can you replace the headliner are you the best at replacing the headliner inside my car? Oh yeah, that's what we built the foundation of our agency on. Great. Can you paint my car too? Oh yeah, we're the best at painting cars. At some point you're going to say that's horseshit. You can't be the expert at everything. Now, if that person is standing in front of you or sitting across the table from you, and you said, what are the 3 things that you are best at? And I promise you, when you get to finally sit at the big boy table at Thanksgiving in front of a $100 million a year company, they're going to test you. And they're going to say things like, what are the 3 things you're best at? Because that's how we're going to make a decision as to whether we're going to do business with you. Give me an example of how you did this, and this in comparison and contrast to your competition. What are some things that you learned through that process that you would do differently? When you get into those big contracts or the opportunity for a big contract, they are going to grill you. They are going to interrogate you. And what they're looking for is they're not necessarily looking for the answer. They're looking for the answer in a way that may contradict an answer that you gave to a previous question. So do it right. Now let's talk about tools. As you're going through case studies, I tell everybody, I really recommend using Canva. It's a free tool. They have Pro, they have all of these things, but it's a very inexpensive way to create slide decks and case studies and Facebook covers and Twitter covers and business card designs and all of this other crazy stuff. Guy Kawasaki did a great job at creating Canva, and I recommend that you use it. I don't recommend that you go out and buy business cards right away, because It doesn't make sense. I mean, buy them if you want, but that isn't the first step to your agency. The first step to your agency is determining what your verticals are and going after what makes sense. All right. So you can sign up for Canva for free. They give you a lot of opportunities, a lot of templates for free. It'll help launch your brand. And we're going to talk about branding in upcoming segments. But these are the tools that I use. This is the standard. This is the standard of what works, what does well. Okay. Get your 3 to 5 marketing verticals down. And I just showed you that Olive and Company, which is a huge company, only has 3, but they have more than one. Do not put yourself into a box where you say, I'm the guy that just pushes the same button over and over again, or the gal, or whatever that looks like. And the reason being is because if you only have one specific market vertical that you're claiming to be an expert at, that's called being an employee. Okay? So if you're only good at one thing, give up and go work for somebody. Because one of the reasons why you created your agency, or you should have created your agency, is because it gave you the opportunity to work in multiple verticals instead of being the same person that screws the nut on the lug nut at the Ford factory. Come up with 3 to 5. Okay? 3 to 5. More than 1. More than 2. Don't be that person that just does 2. Like and subscribe. We need more subscribers. We're getting great feedback from you guys and gals. I really appreciate all of the support that we're getting, and I love doing this. This is my happy space. This allows me to get away from all of the stuff, right? And hopefully give you some great tools that'll help you grow. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for showing up.